So, hi, I'm Clyde Lewis. Welcome to Ground Zero Behind the Scenes. I'm here with Brian. We're looking at the footage that was released by the Boise Security TSA of Emmanuel Charles. As you can see, he's running through the airport. We were talking with him last night about him being terrorized at the Boise airport, actually feeling as though he was being watched. He certainly was. They were focusing in on him. As you can see, he's in the airport right here. And we also showed in the previous Ground Zero behind the scenes some of the footage that was released. Now, we know, as we were working on this, right, Brian, that the Boise security was very reluctant in letting us get this footage. In fact, they made it harder for us to get it. So what we want to do now is we want to play some highlights of last night's show, also intersperse it with some other footage. And then, of course, Bo Doucette, who was a representative of the program, who does a lot of research for the show, actually found some footage that he wanted to share with you as well of a man who was detained by TSA, cuffed, and the Air Marshals riding with him on the plane. It's kind of like what happened with Emmanuel, is that he was taken and escorted by the Marshals on his flight to Las Vegas, even after he spent a night in jail in Boise. It's an interesting story, and it's a story that we need to pay attention to because they were utilizing these draconian laws to detain this guy, and we worry that if his wife didn't help him, he probably would have disappeared and never heard from again. So let's look at some of those highlights from the show last night, and then we'll be back to show you some of the other things that we've discovered about how they apprehend and take some of these prisoners on aircraft.
They was all over me, everywhere I go, man.
Everywhere you go?
Yeah.
We're watching the footage right now on YouTube. I'm going to get the link out to Olaf in a minute. And I can't believe what I'm seeing. Okay, just to let you know, we were told by Wes, who is one of the producers of Ground Zero Behind the Scenes, Brian had worked very hard to get the footage. And what happened is we got the footage from Boise Security. And they come up here, Wes, just a second. Let's get on mic. Tell us what happened with the Boise Security codec. It's hard to get it, wasn't it?
From what Brian was able to find, the codec can only be seen on computers around like Windows 98 operating systems. So on our modern operating system computers, we couldn't view the footage at all. It's kind of a screw you to us.
So they gave you a big FU and said, you're not going to see this. And so we'll get Brian in here too to talk about his torment eventually. I'm having a panic attack just watching it. I'm not kidding. I've never seen anything like this in my life, and I would have been scared if it would have been me because, they really did follow everything you did.
I was the same way. It takes your breath away.
It's just... And then the police are like, what are they asking for? They're having you dig through your bags?
Yeah, they asked me for my ID, and I'm always looking for my ID. By the time I was looking for my ID, they just told me I'm under arrest. They arrested me.
So you're under arrest. And then now you're panicking and you're throwing all your stuff out of your bags onto the floor.
Try to look for my stuff.
A little bit here. Brian's the guy that edited the footage. So Brian, tell me, I know you're a little nervous, but you've been working all night to make this happen. God, I'm so happy you did it because it's the best damn footage I've ever seen of a profiling. So Brian, tell me, how hard was it to do this footage?
Oh, you couldn't imagine. It was like when I first got on your computer, it was just we couldn't do it.
It sent up a lot of errors saying that we couldn't get into it.
There was just a lot of errors. Yeah, it was giving me this prompt, and I was like, I'd never seen this before. And I think I brought out Doug or so, and he saw that, and he didn't know what it was.
Right.
I actually talked to one of my teachers at the school. And he basically said, since the footage was kind of old, you need an old computer to do that. So I was like, well, wait a minute. I have an old computer at my house that still has the old Windows.
So you were able to get around security security blocks and you got through.
And I got through.
And then you were able to play it, but you weren't able to record it.
No.
So you took a video camera and you put it on the screen so we could get the footage.
That was the only way we could get it. It was still very secure in there, even with the old computer. So there was no way I could have expedited out of there.
And what you got and what we have online right now, I think is some of the best profiling footage I've never seen how they profile people, and believe me, it's amazing to watch.
I'm stunned, actually. Yeah. When I was looking at that stuff, I couldn't believe it.
They followed him from everywhere he went.
There's a lot of footage of the camera just watching him, just him. No one else.
Right.
And even just following him everywhere throughout the building, and then of course the arrest, and stuff is just.
And for no reason.
For no reason.
Yeah, they just walked up and arrested him. Thank you so much, Brian, for your hard work.
You're welcome.
They don't want to. We called the police to try to ask them how you can review the video. They don't want to tell us. They don't want to tell us.
So we got it, and they didn't count on anybody being able to open it up.
Brian is great because the guy told us it'd be like 2-3 days before he could get back to us, and he didn't even know if they destroyed the old way to open it.
So
We
they didn't
weren't
want
even
anybody
sure.
to get
They
a hold
didn't
of
want.
us.
As soon as we told them what date it was back, they automatically knew who had the video. So
The thing that makes me a little weird is that they actually had the camera on you in the bathroom.
I know.
You're standing there in the bathroom, and you're just...
Everywhere I go. And they got people follow me to everywhere I go to. With the camera, plus the people follow me.
That really makes me nervous to use a bathroom in an airport.
Yeah, because you don't know if they're looking at you.
Yeah.
Now, what's this I hear that they tried to plant a knife in your bag?
Yeah, the officer was talking to the lawyer officer, tried to figure out what to plan to just set me up with the plan to try.
So they wanted to put a weapon, say you were taking a concealed weapon, so
The
you would
one
have that
officer
charge.
yelled at him, told him, "You can't do
Do
that.
that.
You can't do that."
That's why they left. After that, they left.
To this day, he still don't have his luggage back from the Boise police.
So they took it away from you. And you didn't have it when you went to Vegas either. You didn't have any
No.
luggage when you finally
No,
was left
they
out.
kept it.
So what were their exact words to you about being a part of the Taliban or Al-Qaeda?
They asked me what nationality I am, if I was a terrorist, if I was. They told me I was. When they talking to me, the officer talk to the other officer, and come talk to me and ask me. I was next to Bin Laden. I was next to.
So they thought that you were one of the people who worked with Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, they
Yes.
kept begging him to tell them, please tell him exactly who he is.
Who Osama
That he-
bin Laden is?
No, who my husband is, that he knows he's one of their team, their Al-Qaeda, their bin Laden. They kept telling him.
So they said that there were people watching the airport because they had already suspected when you walked through the door that you were part of the Taliban or that you were part of Al-Qaeda and that you were working with Osama bin Laden.
Yes, I was next to Bin Laden. That's why they told me.
So in the show, if you notice, he says something to the effect that he then got on the plane and he was escorted by the Air Marshals and he wanted to get on the plane and just forget that the whole thing happened. But apparently some lady came on the plane, didn't even ride on the plane with him, came on the plane and said that he was a terrorist and that he was going to Vegas and that she was going to JFK, made a big deal out of it, so he had to be escorted by the Air Marshals to the back of the plane where he sat there with 2 Air Marshals to be escorted to Las Vegas. What I find interesting is that Beau Doucette sent me some video footage on YouTube of a man who was being escorted by Air Marshals on the plane. They actually put zip cuffs on him and sat with him on the plane, but his reaction wasn't one of calm. Let's take a look.
Shoot me! Shoot me! Shoot me! Yeah, I know you're going to shoot me now! Yeah, I'm going to be dying! I'm going to be dying today!
No, you're not going to die.
Yeah, I'm going to die!
Gee, you're going home.
I'm going to die!
You're going home to your...
Help me!
No, you're fine. We're
Help
helping.
me!
Gee, you're not going to die.
Help me!
No one's going to hurt you.
No, I'm going to die
You're not going to
today!
die. No, you're not.
I know!
You're not. You're going home.
I'm going to die!
Hey, you know.
I'm going to die!
No. Jay, what happened?
I'm going to die!
You're not going to die.
Yeah, I'm going to die! Help me!
Jay, you're not going to die.
Help me!
Jay, it's fine. Listen.
Help me!
Jay, it's fine.
Help me!
Jay, you're good.
You're going to shoot me now!
Jay, Jay, I'm
Shoot
not gonna
me!
let anybody hurt you.
Yeah, I'll shoot you!
Jay, nobody.
Yeah, hit me! Hit, back side,
Nobody's
Jay.
gonna hurt you, Jay. Nobody.
guys, take it like this stuff in flight!
Jay, nobody's gonna hurt you.
Fucking asshole, mate!
Jay,
Fucking guys!
Jay, Jay.
I need a photo. Think about that.
Not right now.
Photo, please.
Not right now.
I don't want to do this. I'm not running it. I go off here. Help me! What is the website? What is that?
Nobody's going to hurt you. Nothing is going to happen to you. It's going to be fine. Try to relax.
Okay, whatever you want to do, it's okay, go to please.
Not right now, Jay. Right now you calm down, then you'll get water. If you don't calm down, then you don't get water.
No, I want water.
You're not getting it.
I need a water! I need a water! What you fucking guys? What the fuck, man? You think this flight is to us? You guys thinking this flight is to us? Muslim guys, Muslim fucking guys? Yeah? Fucking hell, mate! Fucking, if I die, I don't care, okay? You think this flight is to us? Fuck a man! Fucking all the fucking white people as well! And they're fuck a man! If I die, I don't care, okay? Shoot me, man! But you can't try to do this one, yeah? You also, man! So many people traveling this.
Nobody's
Yeah,
going to hurt you.
you think this aircraft is yours? Fuck a man! Fucking hell! Fucking hell!
So as you can see, we have covered this story as best we can. We're still trying to find more footage, but in the meantime, we thought we would once again give you a recap of what we talked about last night, show you some very provocative footage of a man being detained and being held in a plane, worried for his life. We were told by Emmanuel that he even worried for his life. He didn't do the scene that this other man did, but he certainly knew that he needed to find a way to get back to his wife. He most certainly has been through a lot. We'd like to thank them for coming forward with their story, and they're looking for help now. We got word that perhaps there's a lawyer that wants to take their case, but in the meantime, we want you to know that this happens in America, and it happens to people that are just normal, innocent citizens, that this happens all the time, and we need to be aware, and we need to pay attention, and we need to say something. I believe that nullification of some of these draconian laws is the way to go, and we need to talk to our senators, our representatives, and tell them that our state constitutions weigh over these new provisions that are being put forth by the Obama administration and whatever other administration is out there that's going to be making these draconian laws. I'm Clyde Lewis, and you've been watching Ground Zero Behind the Scenes.